story about the Cash App founder. Now, for those who are not aware, it's been a weird past 2 weeks. Just yesterday, we saw that the Raytheon director died in a plane crash. And then there was this story about Bobby Lee. Now, he is the founder of Cash App. Where do you see what happened to him? This is a crazy story. Crazy story.
Mystery continues to surround the murder of tech mogul Bob Lee, the Cash App founder, husband, and father of two, stabbed to death this week not far from Google's headquarters. His murder highlighting a serious problem across San Francisco, with some tech executives now taking to social media in response to sound off about violent crime there. Correspondent Alex Capriello is live for us in San Francisco. And Alex, some people feel like the streets there just are not safe anymore.
I love this video because the way that they actually talk about the story and crime, they're not addressing the root cause of the crime. You need to think about a city like San Francisco that has one of the largest homeless populations in the country. They're not addressing the poverty issue at all. They're just like, the streets are not safe and San Francisco doesn't appear to be safe anymore, but they're not acknowledging why that is the case. Bobby Lee was killed in broad daylight. Broad daylight. Seems like a hit to me. Like, it seems like he was definitely targeted for the reason I do not know why. But listen to how they talk about this in reference to the crime issue.
Yeah, that's right, Nicole. In fact, San Francisco has been in the spotlight for the past several years due to waves of both violent and property crime. But what makes the death of 43-year-old father of two, Bob Lee, so tragic is that it happened in this neighborhood, which many consider to be wealthy, safe, and clean. Even still, many people are using this.
Wealthy, safe, and clean. Anybody catch that? This neighborhood is wealthy, safe, and clean, as opposed to dirty neighborhoods, I guess. Crime can happen anywhere. Anywhere.
This high-profile case to demand more public safety for the entire city.
San Francisco police remain silent in the violent stabbing of tech mogul Bob Lee, murdered early Tuesday morning. News Nation has learned the 43-year-old had recently relocated to Miami, in part due to rising crime in the city. We still don't know if this is a targeted...
That part was hilarious to me. He has relocated to Miami due to rising crime. As opposed to the crime in Miami? I have friends that live in Miami. Okay, so I don't know what he thought was going to be different there in reference to crime.
Or random attack, but neighbors have their own suspicions.
A lot of the crime, it's not people from San Francisco. It's usually people from outside the city coming in, perpetrating the crime.
Richard Hom has lived in the Rincon Hill neighborhood for 18 years. He says most condos and apartment buildings have doormen and private security, and Google HQ is only a block away. In fact, I counted at least half a dozen cameras outside the crime scene, all pointing towards city streets. Authorities say there is surveillance video of Lee's final dying moments crying out for help, but that footage has not been made public yet. But Hom says the nearby Bay Bridge attracts random attacks and provides a quick getaway route.
If you're walking on the street, they're going to stop the car and they're going to rob you on their way out.
Moments before Bob Lee collapsed on the sidewalk, he made one last-ditch effort to call for help. One woman who lives inside this condo told me she woke up early Tuesday morning to find bloody fingerprints on this call box, presumably from Lee, trying to find anybody who could assist him.
The latest crime trends released Wednesday show Lee's murder is the 13th so far this year in San Francisco.
Was he robbed? That would be the question that I would have. Again, founder of Cash App, this guy is very wealthy. Was he mugged? Or was he just killed for whatever reason and they didn't take anything? People are leaving San Francisco in droves. I had a friend that lived there for 1 year and came right back to Massachusetts. Kid you not. And Massachusetts is also expensive. But people are leaving there in high numbers because it's incredibly expensive. The rent is outrageous. Silicon Valley adds to this as well, by the way. People can't afford to live there. They're not even talking about that, guys. Let's go on.
That's up 30% from this time last year. Robbery and assaults are also up 14% and 2% respectively. But when examining the city as a whole, FBI statistics reveal San Francisco ranks.
So they said robberies went up. Why would robberies increase? Poverty.
14th in the nation when it comes to violent crime. That's well behind major metros like Chicago, Indianapolis, and Houston. This latest attack has many wondering if this is another sign of yet another increase in crime in their beloved city.
And I'll step away just for a moment. As you can see, people are still stopping by, paying their respects here at the memorial for Bob Lee. Those who have actually seen this surveillance footage say that Lee was last seen walking up Main Street, clutching his chest and trying to flag passing cars, but nobody stopped. In fact, one report indicates that a driver actually saw the extent of his wounds, but actually drove away out of fear. And at this point, it's still unclear what Lee was doing out so early in the morning at all. Nicole?
Yeah, people are afraid. I mean, and why are we questioning why he was out so early in the morning? Who cares? Maybe he was coming back from a bar. Maybe he was coming back from a club or something like that. I don't know. Just because you're out at that time in the morning, that means, oh, you know, we got to be careful with this. We got to be careful when we say things like that. People are trying to figure out, why was he out so early in the morning? Who cares why he was out at that time? Does it really matter? They kill me when they do stuff like this. They kill me when they do it. Now, I have another clip here that does give a little bit more detail that I think you need to see as well. Like I said, this is crazy. Now, they do have cameras outside of those buildings, so hopefully the cameras will reveal more. But I tried to tell you guys, the poverty issue is a big problem. I would be surprised if he was murdered and he was not robbed. They did discuss this on ABC as well.
Investigation after tech entrepreneur was killed in San Francisco, just one block from Google's offices. DeMarco Morgan is on the scene. Good morning, DeMarco.
George, good morning to you. Those honoring the life of the victim by leaving flowers here at the scene where it is believed Bob Lee collapsed. The killing sending shockwaves of sadness and anger throughout the tech community. Overnight, authorities confirming tech executive and investor Bob Lee was stabbed to death in this downtown San Francisco neighborhood. The father of two daughters and CashApp founder played an integral role in developing the Android platform, serving most recently as a top executive at cryptocurrency MobileCoin.
I'm Bob Lee, and I'm MobileCoin's freshly minted, not mine, that would be Bitcoin, Chief Product Officer.
Authorities responding to reports of a stabbing at 2:35 Tuesday morning.
A stabbing out of alert. We saw the control A1. Your tech is A13. PD's around.
Surveillance video reportedly captured Lee walking across the street, holding his side after his stabbing, before collapsing 20 feet from the front door of a condo complex. He later died at the hospital.
I will do everything I can to make sure whoever perpetrated this crime is brought to justice.
His death igniting a firestorm over public safety in San Francisco. Elon Musk tweeting, "Violent crime in San Francisco is horrific, and even if attackers are caught, they are often released immediately." Homicides in the city this year have increased 20% since the same period last year.
Violent crime has increased in San Francisco 20% since the same period last year. What happened last year? We were still dealing with the pandemic. Economically, people were struggling. People still are struggling, right? But inflation started last year. So it does not surprise me that crime has increased.
This morning, his friends remembering his impact on the tech world and his family.
He was charismatic. He was brilliant. He was a thinker. He was a doer. His dedication to his kids was first and foremost. Bob was Father of the Year.
Lee moved to Miami last year. Police are asking anyone with dash cam video or surveillance video who may have been in the area that morning to please come forward.
And a lot of times people don't want to come forward because they just don't, they really don't want, they don't want to deal with the trouble, to be honest with you. They don't want to deal with the trouble.